Hello everyone, Serenity here. I want to welcome you back to Down Home Crypto. Now in this episode, we're going to continue our journey from zero to hero, and we're going to start talking about wallets. Because as we talked about in the last episode, we talked about the dApps, which is essentially like a store or an application in which we interact with. Now to interact, of course, anytime you go to the store, you got to have a wallet, right? Well, there's a lot of different variations and there's no one wallet that fits all. So we're going to dive into those, let you know the differences of them, and which wallet you might want to start with. But if you would, please do me a huge favor, take a moment, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. Some of this information can be time sensitive. Most importantly, as always, please, if there's someone in your life that has no idea this world exists or just doesn't understand it, share them this information. Let them know there is another way and there is a way to learn where I'm going to walk them through step by step. And they don't have to be college educated or rich or tech savvy. They simply have to have the desire to change their life and encourage to follow that dream. And they too can join us on this great crypto adventure. So without further ado, let's go learn about crypto wallets. Now before you go to the store, you're always prepared, right? You jump out and you grab your wallet. And your wallet's great if you're running paper or plastic. Now, what if you're running a bunch of coins? Then maybe you want to take your piggy bank because they go in there great, easy to transport, right? But what if you're taking crypto coins? Well, they don't fit in the piggy bank. And they don't stay well in the wallet, so not a good fit. But now electronic currency, it's very specific. You have to have an electronic wallet. Now that can be utilized on a phone, on a computer, also on a thumb drive. There's a lot of different ways to do this, and we're going to cover the different types of wallets. But I want you to understand that there is currently no one wallet that operates for every cryptocurrency. So to help you get your mind wrapped around this, I've broken down the wallets into 3 basic categories. But please understand, this is not all the factors. And the points I'm going to cover are not all the pieces to it. These are just to give you an example of the differences and what the pros and cons are. So the first category we're going to talk about is a custodial wallet. Now, a custodial wallet is kind of like your Coinbase.com or Crypto.com or your Robinhood or Uphold. Now, they have some great benefits. And the first is it's really easy to buy crypto utilizing your normal fiat currency. And fiat, of course, is the currency of your country. For me, it's the US dollar. Some it's Canadian dollar. Others, it could be the Mexican peso. Fiat just refers to the native currency of your particular country. Now, typically custodial wallets are housed on a central exchange, which means all the coins on that central exchange have been verified. You're not going to end up with some weird random coin that somebody just created yesterday. They've been verified, they've been researched, and it's usually the big coins like your Ethereum, your Bitcoin, your Doge, and Shiba, things like that. So you're usually pretty safe with any coin you purchase on there. Now, another great benefit is if you do get on a central exchange, you purchase like an Ethereum, something like that. If you hold that coin in that custodial wallet, oftentimes those bigger coins will actually pay interest. Now, it might only be 1% per year, but still, it's a little bit more than what you had. So there are some great benefits for having a custodial wallet and holding your coins there. But there are also some very big risks or negatives associated with custodial wallets. So the first is that they decide what coins you can hold because you can only hold coins that they approved and authorized to hold in that wallet. But because they decide what we can hold, you're also limited on the options you have available. Okay, so a lot of the newer, really explosive potential coins aren't going to be listed on there. But that means also the high risk coins aren't going to be listed on there either. So it's a great starting point. Now, this is only through typically an essential exchange of some sort where you have to go through a KYC process. You're going to have all your records, documentation, everything out there. So the government's going to know exactly what you're holding, what you're not, and they're going to be able to track that. Now, with the new regulation, that's great because typically they have different tax apps, things along those lines, but it also means that Big Brother is watching. So kind of take it how you choose. Now, also, I found with many of these central exchanges, there's extra fees associated. So for instance, on a DeFi wallet, if I were to send one coin from one wallet to another, I just have to pay the gas fees. But if I try to do that on a central exchange or custodial wallet, typically there's an extra withdrawal fee or transfer fee, something like that on top of the normal gas fees. So please understand that there can be some extra fees on there. So be aware and keep an eye on those extra fees because they can add up quickly. Now, the most important thing I can stress to you on a custodial wallet is the number one huge risk of all. If you don't have the coins in your possession, you do not own them. Yeah, these folks are holding these coins for you in a wallet on their exchange. Now, what happens if they go down? Even if the coins still exist, it's still not there. So, custodial wallet, the biggest risk is they are in possession of your coins, and if something were to happen to that company, those coins are gone. So, as we say in the biz, if it's not in your hands, it ain't yours. So the next category we're going to cover is a hot non-custodial wallet. Now, some examples of those are your MetaMask or your Trust wallet, your Exodus, things along those lines. It's a wallet that lives on the internet at all times. That's what makes it hot. Now, some of the benefits of these is they're really easy to interact within the DeFi space, which means you can get in those new protocols just as they're launching, buy those NFTs, go to OpenSea. It makes it really easy to interact without a whole lot of steps. And as we covered in the last video, where we talked about the dApps, well, these hot non-custodial wallets are the easiest, smoothest way to operate with most dApps because they're pretty much interact with everything. And another great benefit is we have control of our coins. So even if that central exchange shuts down tomorrow, you know what? We still have our coins in our wallets. We have the seed phrases. So we are in control of our coins. Now, of course, as always, these have some drawbacks as well. So the first is they're operated on what's called a seed phrase, which could be a series of random words from 12 to 24 words in a certain order. And if you lose that seed phrase, you cannot re-access that wallet. And there's no one to call. There's no support. So doing our own due diligence on safety and security is absolutely paramount utilizing a hot non-custodial wallet. Now, the other concern to be aware of is these tokens are always on the net, which makes these susceptible to cyber attacks, to targeting, things like that. So if you get a virus on your computer by going to some weird game site or something, and it affects that, it can actually access your wallet and drain your account. So it really falls up to us to be very diligent and absolutely know what we're doing and be careful about it. I hate to tell you, the next downside is there's no support. Some of us have gotten so spoiled that we can call the 1-800 number, hey, I sent money to the wrong guy down in South America and that's not where it's supposed to go. Can you fix it? And the bank or whoever can fix that. Guess what? In this world, there are no support numbers. There is nobody to call. It is up to each of us to do our due diligence, to learn what we're doing before we do it. That way we don't send money to the wrong place or invest in the wrong thing. Now, the last one I listed as the biggest negative of all is we have total control. So whatever we click on, whatever we do, we are absolutely accountable. There's no going back and say, oh yeah, but Bob said to do this. Well, I'm sorry, but Bob might have been a scammer. So it really falls on us to be diligent and to be very responsible and accountable for our actions. Now, the last category we're going to talk about is a cold non-custodial wallet. These are essentially your ledgers or Trezors or Ally Pals. These are a hardware wallet that are pulled off of the internet and give you complete custody of your tokens. Now, some of the benefits of these are tokens don't live on the net, so they're not susceptible to cyber attacks. They're not constantly out there as a target for people to try and take. Now, most of these cold wallets do link up to a lot of dApps, but occasionally we do have to move from cold storage onto like a MetaMask for a hot wallet, interact with a dApp, and then turn around and move them back. So there might be an extra step in there, but really not too bad typically. And the biggest benefit of all is these give you total control. These coins are in your hand. They are in your possession. Nobody can take those away from you. So that is the biggest thing about a cold storage wallet is these coins are absolutely and totally yours. But as always, there's some downsides too. Let's go through those real quick. Now, the first is being that it's a physical device, it can be lost. Whether it be similar to a phone device or a thumb drive or any different format you utilize, it can be lost. It can be broken. It can be stolen. There's a great article where a guy had like $2 million worth of Bitcoin. He couldn't get off his cold storage wallet. He had to hire somebody to hack into it for him because he lost a seed phrase for it. So it still has some of the same risks there. It can be lost. It can be stolen, things like that. But without the seed phrase, they still can't access it. Now, with a lot of cold storage wallets, there is a limitation of what tokens you can put on that wallet. So as your portfolio begins to grow, you may run into coins that you just simply can't put in cold storage. Okay, and wallets are always evolving. Things are always growing. That's going to continue to change. Now, with that, of course, that means that hardware device needs constant updates. And if you get a corrupted update or something goes wrong, or when you put it on the net to get an update, you are susceptible at that point in time. So it's not a full bulletproof process. Now, there is a little bit more support on a cold storage wallet, but not as much as you might think. There's not a 1-800 number you can call and say, hey, can you fix this? No, they're going to support the hardware. They're going to support how you operate it. But if you do something wrong with it, that is still your risk and your accountability. And that leads to the last and final negative on a cold storage wallet is you have total control. Once again, that's the biggest risk of all is us humans. We are not the smartest monkeys in the bunch, and we do make a lot of mistakes. So if we transfer tokens to the wrong wallet address, things like that, that still falls upon us. So due diligence is always absolutely critical, and definitely know what you're doing before you start clicking buttons randomly saying, yes, I accept this or sign this or do that. Make sure you're reading it. Make sure you're doing your research. There is no foolproof way out here. And remember, it says down here at the bottom, there is no wallet that interacts with all forms of cryptocurrency. There's always going to be limitations. So most of us in the space, we have multiple wallets because different dApps or different reasons to have them. require different types of wallets, and that's okay. So as you can tell, currently there's need for a lot of different types of wallets, a lot of different reasons to have different things in different places. But there's a few very specific rules we absolutely need to follow. Number one, never type your seed phrase out on a computer document and leave it there. It is then susceptible to cyber attack. Once they get the seed phrase, they have the keys to your kingdom. Always write them down on paper, and I always recommend making multiple copies of that. Keep one set locally in a fire safe or something in case something happens. Put the other set of free seed phrases into a safety deposit box or somewhere off-site in case, God forbid, your house burns down, something like that. The other is never give out your seed phrases. Don't trust anyone. Seriously, nobody. Unless it's like your spouse and she's like in control anyway, like in my house. No, I don't give my seed phrase to my children, my friends, my family, no. And the most important thing of always is please remember, we are 100% accountable within the crypto space. We don't get to call an 800 number. We don't get to say, oh, I sent it to the wrong address and guess what? It's gone. That's how it works. So do your due diligence, be accountable. And even if you go in and buy something, you say, oh yeah, but I listened to Bob because he said to buy it. Well, that's not taking accountability. And don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else out there. Always do your own research, make your own choices because only you know the situation you're in and what your risk to reward comfortability levels are. So I hope this introduced you a little bit to wallets. In future videos, we're going to set up some of these wallets and walk you through the process. But I wanted you to understand what a wallet is and what are the varying types of wallets. So as always, thank you so much for your time. And until next time, have a great night.